Hello and welcome to part 3 of the chapter Numerical Analysis. In the previous two parts, we have discussed about errors and learned how to round up a number up to n decimal places. In this part, we shall discuss about different types of operators in numerical analysis. First, we assume that y equal to fx is a given function on this interval a to b. So the function fx is defined on this interval a to b. We shall break this interval into n equal parts. If we break the interval a to b into n equal parts by this n plus 1 number of points, namely x0, x1, x2, x3 up to xn, then we find that total length is b minus a. So if we break this interval into n equal parts, and if we assume that h is the length of each subinterval, then nh equal to b minus a, total length. So h equal to b minus a by n. So h is the distance between any two consecutive points. So we have broken the interval av into n equal parts with the common width b minus a by n by this n plus 1 number of points x0, x1, x2 up to xn. So a equal to x0 and b equal to xn. Now we want to calculate x1. Now since h is the distance between any two consecutive points, so h is the distance between x0 and x1, so x1 can be written as x0 plus h. Next, x2 can be written as, now x2 can be written as x1 plus h. Now x1 equal to x0 plus h, so x2 can be written as x0 plus 2h. Similarly, x3 can be written as x0 plus 3h, and ultimately xn can be written as x0 plus nh. Now all these points in one line can be written as xk equal to x0 plus kh, where k varies from 1 to up to n. So these are the equidistance points. Now these points are called arguments or nodes. Next we shall find the value of this function at these arguments or nodes. Now if we compute the functional value at the point xk, which is x0 plus kh, then the functional value is denoted by, suppose, yk. So yk equal to the functional value at the argument xk or at x0 plus kh. So if we compute the functional value at all these arguments, we shall get y0, y1, y2, y3 up to yn. So these values are called arguments and these values are called entries. So the functional values at the arguments are called entries. So we have some arguments and entries. Actually we have n plus 1 number of arguments which are given by xk equal to x0 plus kh, and corresponding n plus 1 number of entries where yk equal to f of xk. Next we consider different types of operators. First one is the shift operator, which is denoted by capital E. Before that, we just recall the result that we have equidistance arguments which are denoted by xk, and these are defined as xk equal to x0 plus kh, and the functional value at the arguments are called entries which are given by yk, that is equal to f of xk. So we have n plus 1 number of arguments and corresponding n plus 1 number of entries. Now shift operator acts on entries. Suppose if we apply the shift operator on y0, then it becomes y1. If we apply the shift operator on y1, we get y2. So shift operator acts on entries, and if we apply the shift operator one time on an entry, then it shifts to the next entry. So if we apply E on y0, we get y1. If we apply E on y1, we get y2. So in general, if we apply shift operator on yk, then we get yk plus 1. Now if we apply this shift operator 2 times, that means suppose if we apply e square on y0, then y0 shifts to y2. If we apply the shift operator 2 times on y1, then we get y3. So in general, if we apply the shift operator 2 times on yk, we shall get yk plus 2. So in general, if we apply the shift operator m times on yk, then the entry becomes yk plus m. Now if we apply e minus 1 on yk, then it becomes yk minus 1. So if we use the negative power of the shift operator, then it shifts back to yk minus 1. So if we apply e to the power minus 2 on yk, then it becomes yk minus 2. So this operator is called shift operator. Now if we apply the shift operator e on a function fx, then it becomes f of x plus h, where h is the distance between any two consecutive arguments. If we apply shift operator 2 times on fx, then it becomes f of x plus 2h. If we apply e to the power minus 1 on fx, then it becomes f of x minus h. So this operator is called shift operator. Next we consider some properties of shift operator. The first property is, if we apply the shift operator on a constant c, then it becomes that constant c. Because if the function fx is equal to constant c, then f of x plus h, this is also equal to c, because the function is constant. So fx equal to c means x plus h equal to c. So if we apply this shift operator on fx, then we shall get fx plus h. So fx equal to c, so e of c equal to f of x plus h, which is again c. So if we apply the shift operator on a constant, then we get that constant. Next property is, if we apply the shift operator on fx plus gx, that is equal to e of fx plus e of gx. Suppose phi x equal to fx plus gx, then if we apply this shift operator on phi x, we shall get phi x plus h. So if phi x equal to fx plus gx, then phi x plus h, this is equal to f x plus h plus gx plus h. Now f of x plus h, this can be written as e of fx. So if we apply the shift operator on fx, then we shall get f of x plus h. Similarly, g of x plus h, this can be written as e of gx. So if we apply the shift operator on gx, we shall get gx plus h. The next property is, e to the power m into e to the power n fx equal to e to the power m plus n fx. So this property says that if we apply the shift operator n times on fx, and after that if we apply the shift operator m times on that function, then this is equal to e of m plus n equal to fx. That means if we apply the shift operator m plus n times on fx, then we shall get the same result. So this can be written as e of m plus n fx, this is equal to e into e m plus n times, which can be written as e into e, suppose m number of times, and e into e, this is n number of times. So this can be written as e to the power m into e to the power n fx. So e to the power m plus n on fx equal to e to the power m into e to the power n of fx. The next property is, if we apply the shift operator on k into fx, where k is a constant, then we can take the constant outside the shift operator. So this is equal to k into e of fx. Now this is simple. Suppose we have gx equal to k into fx. Then if we apply e on k into fx, now k into fx equal to gx. So if we apply e on gx, then we get gx plus h. Now gx equal to k into fx, so g of x plus h, this should be k into f x plus h. Now f x plus h, this can be written as e of fx. So this is k into e of fx. So these are the four properties of shift operator. Next we shall consider forward difference operator. This operator is denoted by delta, and if we apply this operator on fx, then we shall get f of x plus h minus fx. So if we apply the forward difference operator on a function fx, then it becomes f of x plus h minus fx. So this is the difference of the entries between this entry and the next entry. So in particular, if we apply this forward difference operator on suppose y1, then we shall get y2 minus y1. If we apply this on y0, we shall get y1 minus y0. So if we apply this forward difference operator on an entry, then it becomes difference between this entry and the next entry. So in particular, it is next entry minus this entry. So in general, if we apply this forward difference operator delta on yk, we shall get yk plus 1 minus yk. Now before we consider the higher order difference operator, that is delta square delta cube, we first find a relation between this forward difference operator and shift operator. So we find a relation between delta and e, the shift operator and the forward difference operator. Now we know that if we apply this forward difference operator on fx, we shall get f of x plus h minus fx. Now we know from the definition of shift operator that if we apply the shift operator on fx, we shall get f of x plus h. So f of x plus h, this can be written as e of fx minus fx. So if we take fx common, we find it is e minus 1 of fx. So if we cancel fx from the both sides, then we find that delta is equivalent to e minus 1. We cannot write delta equal to e minus 1 because these two are operators. So if we apply delta on fx, then it is equal to that if we apply e minus 1 on fx. So this delta operator is equivalent to e minus 1, or e is equivalent to 1 plus delta. So this is the relation between e and delta. Now using this relation, we shall find the higher order forward differences. We consider some properties of forward difference operator delta. The first property is delta of c equal to 0, where c is any constant. So the property says that if we apply this difference operator on any constant, then it becomes 0. The proof is very simple. Suppose fx equal to c, fx is a constant function. Now if we apply this delta on fx, then we shall get fx plus h minus fx. Now if fx equal to constant, then it is delta of c. Now if fx equal to constant c, then f of x plus h is again equal to c. So it is c minus c, that is 0. So the forward difference of any constant is equal to 0. The second property is delta of fx plus gx equal to delta fx plus delta gx. So if we apply this operator on fx plus gx, then it becomes delta on the function fx plus delta on the function gx. I am skipping this proof because this is very simple. Next property is delta of k into fx equal to k into delta x. That means if we apply this operator on k into fx, then we can take this constant k outside the delta. So it is k into delta of fx. Next property is delta of m plus n of fx equal to delta to the power m into delta to the power n of fx. So this property is similar to shift operator. Now we consider higher order forward differences. So if we apply this delta 2 times on fx, that is delta square of fx, and we know from the property that it can be written as delta into delta of fx. Now if we apply delta 1 time on fx, we shall get f of x plus h minus fx by the definition. So this is equal to, now if we apply delta on this function, this can be written as delta of x plus delta of f x plus h minus delta of fx. Now if we apply this delta on the function f x plus h, we shall get f x plus 2h minus f x plus h. This is the definition of delta. So if we apply this, we shall get this is equal to the next entry, which is f of x plus 2h minus this entry f of x plus h, minus if we apply delta on fx, we shall get f x plus h minus fx. So this is equal to f of x plus 2h minus 2 into f of x plus h plus fx. Now this can be found alternatively by using the shift operator. Now if we apply delta square on fx, then we know that delta is equivalent to e minus 1. We have already proved that delta is equivalent to e minus 1. So this is e square minus 2e plus 1 of fx. So this can be written as e square fx minus 2e of fx plus fx. Now if we apply e 2 times on fx, we shall get f x plus 2h minus if we apply e on fx, we shall get f x plus h plus fx. So here we have obtained the same result. Now we can check that the third order forward difference of fx can be found as f of x plus 3h minus 3 into f of x plus 2h plus 3 times f of x plus h minus fx. Now in the language of arguments, if we apply delta square on yk, we shall get yk plus 2 minus 2 times yk plus 1 plus yk. And if we apply 3 times on yk, we shall get yk plus 3 minus 3 times yk plus 2 plus 3 times yk plus 1 minus yk. If you look carefully, you shall find that all these constants are nothing but the coefficients of binomial expansion. So using this shift operator, you can find higher order forward differences. Now we shall construct a table from where you can find any order forward differences. So let us construct the forward difference table. Next we shall learn how to construct forward difference table from the given data. Suppose there are 5 number of arguments x0, x1, x2, x3, x4 and corresponding 5 entries y0, y1, y2, y3, y4. So from this data we can construct the forward difference table. For that we first write the arguments x0, x1, x2, x3, x4 and then we shall write the entries. Now if we apply the forward difference operator on y0, we know that this is equal to y1 minus y0. Similarly, if we apply this delta on y1, we shall get y2 minus y1. If we apply delta on y2, we get y3 minus y2. Similarly, if we apply delta on y3, we get y4 minus y3. Finally, if we apply delta on y4, it should be y5 minus y4. but y5 is not available because we have only 5 entries, y0 to y4. So y5 is not available, so this cannot be found. So delta on y4 cannot be found. Now there is a specific rule to construct this table, because if we want to calculate this value, if you look carefully, you find that this is equal to next value minus this value. If we want to calculate this value, it will be this value, next value minus this value. For this one, it should be next value minus this value. For this one, it is next value minus this value. And finally, for this value, we need the next value, but the next value is not available, so this will be left blank. Next, we consider second order differences. Now second order difference of y0, this should be equal to first order difference of y1 minus first order difference of y0. So ultimately, to compute this value, we have to find this is this value minus this value. So using these two, we can find this one. It will be delta y1 minus delta y0. Now how to find delta y1? Now this is delta and this is y1, so this is delta y1. Now delta y0, it is delta y0, so this is delta y0. So to compute this value, we need to subtract this value from this value. So this can be found by subtracting this value from this one. Similarly, if we want to calculate this value, this will be equal to this value minus this value. So it is delta y2 minus delta y1. Now what is the value of delta y2? This value, this is delta y2 and this is delta y1. So this can be found by subtracting this value from this one. Similarly, you can find this value. This will be equal to this value minus this value, which is delta y3 minus delta y2. Finally, if we want to calculate this value, so this value will be equal to this one minus this one, but this is not available, so this value will not be available. So we shall left this point blank. Next, we want to calculate third order forward differences. So this is delta cube y0, and by the formula it is delta square y1 minus delta square y0. Now how to find delta square y1? Now this is delta square, this is y1, so this value is delta square y1 and this is delta square y0. So to compute this value, we need to find this value minus this value. Similarly, for this value, this will be equal to this one minus this one. So if we subtract this value from this value, we get this one, delta cube y1. Next, this value cannot be found because to compute this value, we need this value minus this value equal to this value. So this cannot be found. So these are the two third order forward differences. And finally, if we want to calculate fourth order forward difference, this is very simple. There are only two values available. So this one is equal to this value minus this value. So if we subtract this value from this value, we shall get this one. So it is delta cube y1 minus delta cube y0. So this table is called forward difference table. From this table, we can easily find any order forward differences. As for example, suppose we need to compute delta square y1. We need to find delta square y1. Then from the table, we have to find the column of delta square. So this is delta square, then y1. Now this is y1. So this value, this is delta square y1. Suppose we need to find delta y3. Now from the table of delta, now from the column of delta, we need to find delta y3. Now this is y3, so this value is delta y3. Suppose we need to find delta cube y2. Now to find delta cube y2, we need to look at the column of delta cube. So this is delta cube. Now y2 is this one. So here we find that delta cube y2 is not available. So this value is not available. So from forward difference table, we can find any order forward difference of any entry. So this is the table of forward difference. With this we complete this part. In this part we have discussed about shift operator and forward difference operator, and also obtained a relation between shift operator and forward difference operator. In the next part we shall discuss about backward difference operator. So see you in the next part. Until then, thanks for watching.